Okay, so we started last week with, we did the observing part of the lesson, and we're going to continue the observing part now. You remember last week we just looked at the passage and we just read like the who, what, when, where, why very quickly. This week we're going to actually look a little bit more in depth, and so you guys are going to have some hands-on assignment today. So we're going to continue with looking at Luke. Let's see, Luke 23, 32 through 49. Luke 23, 32 through 49. That's what we read last week. I think for the actual practice, we're going to start in verse 34. So 34. This is where we'll start. So just 34 through 49. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give everybody, if you have a pen, bring it out. If not, I have some extra pens. Everyone's going to get a pen and pass around a sheet of paper. Hello. Nice to see you, brother. Please join us. Have a seat. Have a seat. One there, one there. Do we have extras? Metal's coming too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, move that out. Okay.
Here's a seat right here too, bro. Okay. Although this is a camera seat. I'm going to be on camera on this one.
Oh, we have a camera?
That one they can hear you good, but you won't be on.
Okay, I'll bring
Okay, everyone has
One
a
chair.
Where are the chairs? Where are they?
one more chair. I think we better go.
We need two chairs up.
Well, that'll work for now. And you can, there's one there and one there. Do you need another one? You need 3 chairs? Yeah, you guys can. Go ahead. Here, actually, thank you. I'll put this one over here next to that. So I don't have to move all my stuff. Is that okay? Come on, no, sit down. Not the nice one, but oh. Pens. Okay, who else needs a pen?
Thank you.
Need a pen? Got one? Alright, thank you. If it doesn't work, let me know. We'll get the purple one. You need a pen? Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is you're going to take your sheet of paper, fold it, or not fold it, but place it like this, and you're going to make lines on it, and I kind of did a diagram for you how it's going to look. Just make 3 lines through it, and this is all you're doing on the paper. There's 2 seats for you guys right there. And we have paper and pencil for you guys. And, okay, so just write 3 lines here, and you'll write these titles on the top. Who, what, how, and how. Okay? Who, what, how, and how. And what they are is, on the who, you're going to go through the passage. I'm going to have you guys do this individually. And you're going to go through the passage and list the persons other than Jesus. Hello, hello.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, you're fine. Nice to see you. I'm glad you made it.
Yeah.
Do you all need a pen? You got a pen? Oh, you're a teacher, I'm sure you have a pen there.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay. So on the first section is who, and you just list the persons, one after another. Put them like this, one underneath the other. That way you have room to write across next to their names. Other than Jesus. And then the next section, you'll do that in a second. The next section is what, and here you're going to record what they did relating to Jesus next to each one of the names once you get all the names down, right? So who, what. The third section, you're going to write how they verbally responded to Jesus. Okay? So how they, and this is, you're just recording their words, they responded to Jesus. Note here also the titles and pronouns that they used for Jesus. What did they call him? Okay? So that's in the how they verbally responded to Jesus, all these different characters. And then the last section, you're going to record how Jesus responded to each one of these individuals. Okay?
Will you do one with us? One person?
Yeah, I could do one with you.
That's Luke 23.
Luke 23, and we're going to start with, 32 and 33 give the context, but we'll skip that for now, and we'll do 34 through 49. And does everyone have a book? Anybody not have one of these studying together guides?
Dixie.
Yes. You got one? One extra here. Everyone else?
No, you got a new one.
You guys didn't bring yours?
Remember you had.
I have an extra if you need to look at it.
She just starts like.
Yeah. These are all I have. Okay. That's mine. I'll get that one
Yeah,
back.
I gave it to you.
Okay. Okay, actually. So I think that one actually has the
What page are we on? 35.
idea of, it's page 35. It's Discovery Skills 3, Practice A. And let's see, to give you guys an idea of how they did it. So for example, in verse 34, so we'll just start with this verse. The who there, you could write soldiers. You guys see that? In verse 34? The passage. Luke 23, 34. So you write soldiers in the who, centurions, whatever, I don't know how we're going to word it. In the what, you would write what they did. So what do you guys think? What did they do? What did they do with
They
that?
mocked Jesus.
They mocked Jesus. Anything else there?
They also had him.
Well, mocked would be verbal, right? So what did they do? What did they do action-wise?
Offered him sour wine.
How did they mark him?
Sour wine, verse 34. Okay, sour wine.
Are we doing verse 34 or verse 36?
Well, 34 is where I was starting, but
okay.
that, I mean, later on they do the sour wine too.
Uh-huh.
So, but 34, what did they do there, action-wise?
Oh, they divided up Jesus' clothes.
Exactly. They cast lots for his garments. Okay? So these are actions that the soldiers did. Pretty simple, right? And then the next one is how they verbally said things to or about Jesus. And you already got that, James. They mocked him. Okay? And then the next one would be Jesus' words, if any, that he responded to,
Father, forgive them.
how he responded to them. So what did he say?
Forgive
They
them.
forgive them.
Forgive him. So you guys get the idea? And you'll go through. How you doing? Let's see you over there. You have a book, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool. Oh, we need to get you a piece of paper and pen. So you guys get the idea. Just go through, list the characters. I'll give you guys a few minutes to do this. List the characters and then go through and say what they did. And this is just an exercise in learning how to observe a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to stop you guys now. Like I said, you can finish it later. So was this useful, you think? It kind of slows you down in reading the passage. You know, it's very easy to just quickly read through the Bible and not let it absorb. And this kind of thing forces you to slow down. So you can do this with any Bible passage, any narrative, and just slow down and just really digest what it's saying. And so we did this in class now, not necessarily to get you guys to finish it, because I know it's kind of a long passage, but just so you guys can get an example and practice this at home. Like I said, the purpose of this class is to teach you the skills so you do it at home yourself, to help you to understand the Bible better on your own.
So kind of condense it into a small story.
Yeah, well, it just kind of breaks it down into little pieces,
Yeah,
so you
more or
notice
less
it.
condense
And
it. That's
you know,
basically what you do.
you ever heard
That's how
someone
I
say,
do it.
I need to chew on this? Well, that's kind of what we're doing. We're just kind of breaking it down and chewing on the passage a little bit more slowly.
The exercise helps us to slow down,
Exactly.
because so often we
Exactly.
read things and we go quickly, but if we force ourselves to do something like this, it gets us to slow down, because I immediately when I was going through this, realized, wow, this is all the different reactions people have to Jesus dying on the cross.
Yes.
And it's all played out in these different characters.
Yes.
You
Isn't
know?
that incredible?
And it's like, and I could go through and you could analyze what each of them says and kind of modernize it.
Yeah.
Like, this guy isn't real, this is a total, fake.
Uh-huh.
Or,
We're actually gonna do that. And say,
Yeah.
yeah, personalize it too and say, am I being like this sometimes? Absolutely. So this is really just an excuse to force you guys to slow down. Okay. So what we're gonna do next, so this is still in the observation phase. We're just looking carefully at the story and observing it. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna do a little bit of interpretation. Kind of, just a little bit of trying to pull more meaning out of it. So what we're going to do now is Discovery Skills 3. We're still on Discovery Skills 3, so it's right the next section, Practice B. We were on Practice A, now we're on Practice B. And we're going to look through Practice B 1, 2, and 3. So you guys will see that in your Joy of Discovery book. It's the very next section, Practice B. And there's 3 sections to it. The first one is to build mental images. The next one is to ask yourself questions. And the last one is to seek to find answers to questions. Okay, so the first one, and this is kind of what you were talking about, baby, is each person in the group, what I'm going to have you guys do, and we don't have enough characters for all of you, but we'll just do a few. I'm going to have you pick a person, one of the characters at the cross, at the scene here, and share with the group how you think that person spoke and acted. Just kind of describe a little bit how you think that they were, put a little bit more adjectives onto how you think that they were acting and speaking. You know what I'm saying? And as we do this, I want you guys to imagine how Jesus felt as these different people were doing these things in relation to him.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, right? But it helps to stop for 1 second and think about it. I mean, we know, but it helps to stop and think about it. So I'll go ahead and start with you, baby. And you just pick one person.
I'll do the criminal that was mocking Jesus.
Okay.
I like it too.
How do you think that person spoke and acted?
I think he was angry, and he spoke in a way that was very, mad at Jesus. If you really who you say you are, why aren't you and us, selfish too? Say me too, if you're who you say you are.
Mm-hmm.
And angry, he was just angry. It's just like, here I am with this guy who claims to be the Christ, and he isn't doing anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Anger.
Anger. Kind of frustrated. Right? How do you guys think? How do you think Jesus felt by that by the way the guy was talking and acting toward Jesus? Anybody? You can comment on it
It
too.
doesn't say on the text, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't say how Jesus really responded. But I have a question though,
Well, I mean, the idea is, how do you think he felt?
how did he feel?
You could imagine.
How does anybody
Well, like
feel
a
when
real
they talk to
If
you like
somebody.
It's no brainer,
that?
right?
I know,
Yeah.
that's my point.
Well, but think of it from the perspective of Jesus. If this guy is, what did he say?
He said, if you are the Christ, save yourself and us.
So
Yeah, and
here, and you imagine, this is Jesus, the one who came, his very name means salvation. He came to save people.
Yeah.
And you have somebody frustrated and angry at Jesus saying, why aren't you saving us? And Jesus is, that's exactly what he at that moment, that's what he's doing. So, it is obvious, but it helps to take a second to think about that. That must have just been very heartbreaking for Jesus to be like, it's almost like Pontius Pilate. The truth is standing right in front of you. You're missing it,
and
This is so familiar. If you are the Christ, this is like
Yeah.
Satan tempting Jesus, if you are the Son of God.
There's that too.
Who is behind this questioning? Obviously, it's not the criminal, it's somebody behind it.
Sitting behind it.
The other
So
thing
that's
is-
a temptation to get at Jesus and try and get him to doubt a little bit.
The other thing also is that the criminal that is blaspheming Christ, I was thinking he probably got taken out of jail because he did something wrong. But I guess he also was following what was going on around him. He calls him the Christ. If you're the Christ, how did he know?
Mm.
That the
Must
Christ
have
claimed to
heard.
be the
Yeah,
Christ.
he's
Must
a
have
very
heard.
famous, Jesus was a very famous crucifixion, I guess.
And so the fame made it even that much more humiliating.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Go ahead.
Maybe Jesus, okay, on the other hand, probably Jesus was also thinking, okay, the more they mock him, the more he has compassion on these people because they don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
But he has all that compassion and mercy towards this person. He understands what he's going through and being proud. I don't know exactly, but maybe Jesus was saying, if you only knew, son, okay, what I'm doing for you right now,
Yeah.
maybe you would repent.
Mhm.
But I think being God, He understands. Being man, we don't know, salvation, and right at that moment, they don't know how salvation will be. Yeah, the natural tendency is, we need, a physical thing that should save us right now.
Mm.
But I think Jesus is more understanding at that time.
I
But
can relate to
but
that.
his belief, whether Jesus is the Christ or not, if he can save us. So he wanted something in exchange. I
Right.
believe
Yeah.
you if you save me.
Yeah. Yeah, we often, we have that perspective with
Yes,
God,
yes.
right? Where we will, if you do this, then,
Then I'll do it.
and that's, the difference you notice between these two criminals is their approach to Christ.
Mhm.
It's not God's approach to them.
Right.
Jesus died for the one just as well as the other. He loved both of them the same, salvation was for both, and one of them grabbed onto salvation, the other one was frustrated asking why I'm not saved. And it was really just his attitude. That was the problem. If he would just change the way he approached Christ, he could have been saved just as well as the other. I can relate to that, when you're just feeling frustrated and why is not God helping me in this particular situation? And the problem's really me. It's not God. I just need to change my attitude.
It's an issue of immediate gratification. One wanted to be saved, now the other one says, "You come, you can."
That's,
I can wait.
that's a very good point.
I can wait.
I don't even know if you need to look at the second criminal, but anyway, that's good. Okay, does anybody, would you like to pick another character, you
It's
wanna
the
pass?
second
You only have two
criminal.
of them.
Yeah.
You want to do the second criminal? Go ahead.
The second criminal. Okay, so he was saying that.
So how do you think this person
Mhm.
talked? How do you think they spoke and how they acted toward Jesus?
Yeah,
What do you think?
first, I think he is more submissive or more realizing that what he did deserved, punishment.
You mentioned that.
Yes,
Right?
yes, he did.
So there's that
Yes.
humility, okay.
Yeah, so the heart of that person is more, more humble, and he deserved what he is going through right now. Yeah, the cross, and but on the other hand, he has this thought that Jesus, who never did anything wrong, is on the cross. If I did much more, nerve-wracking things when I was, doing these old crimes, but what about Jesus? Jesus has never been seen doing anything wrong. And that guy, that's why,
So he was following the situation too. He knew Jesus didn't do anything wrong.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's why he rebuked that other guy. Okay.
Very good. Very good stuff. Do you have it?
Okay, now we can come from another angle.
Okay.
Maybe the one will say, I know that you're God. Maybe he's seen the miracle he made. Maybe he knew his background. Maybe the other guy, the criminal, didn't know. See? You have to
We
look at
don't
both
know.
ways. We don't know.
Yes.
We're just guessing here. Okay.
There is some truth that we don't know how much they knew.
That's right. Because you take a Christian who has been a Christian for years. Okay, when something comes along, we say, oh God, help me, or whatever the circumstance, okay? Now you take a non-Christian and he will say, doggone it, why does that happen? You see what I mean?
Mhm.
So we have to look at both angles.
I hear you, I hear you. I mean, he's in Jerusalem at the Passover. He probably had some knowledge of God.
Yes and no. Uh-uh.
It might have been definitely perverted, you know, because the Jewish religion was confused. The leaders were, that's for sure. So, excuse me. But yeah, you're right. We don't know how much. But
Now I tell you one thing though.
what's that?
The three of them were crucified. Romans could not be crucified. Only Jews could be crucified. Only non-Romans could be crucified. So these three criminals were Jewish people.
Yeah.
They knew the Passover.
There was
They
at
knew.
least some information they did.
Oh,
Right?
so they
And you
know.
know what? Here's the thing. Even if they weren't, which, you know, that's a good point that they must have been Jews. But let's say just some pagan, right? Somebody who had never
That's
even
right,
heard the
because
Bible,
amongst
right?
the Jews there's pagan too.
Yeah.
What information is revealed to those people? You know, we are told that in Romans 1:20 it says, "For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse." So in other words, creation itself tells you there's a God. And so they all have enough information to make a good decision, but you
Yeah,
can,
just
if
to-
you'd like to, you can
really-
choose to, you know, to look at things the wrong way.
Then why we having people now who don't believe in evolution, and you can
Paul
say to
tells
them
you-
also, hey, but here is proof.
It's
is
their
fact."
choice.
You see what I mean?
It's their choice. It's the same thing, and Paul actually answers that as well. He says that when they knew God as God, they chose not to keep him in their minds and glorify him as God. So everybody knows, all these scientists and atheists, they know deep down in their heart that there's a God, but they're lying to themselves. And I think that's what that one thief did. He chose to lie to himself, you know, and reject that spirit that was telling him, hey, there's a God that you owe your life to. So, yeah. So, but it's good to think of these ideas and try and
Yeah, because you
figure out
have
where
to
they're
go
coming from.
look at all directions in order to be fair. This has nothing to do with political correctness. It's just that we have to give everybody a chance, you know, everybody who works to the store or to any church store. You know.
Yep, and God, yeah, I hear you. There's people who don't know very much, and we have to work with them where they're at.
Yeah, I also think that, I think that's important to know how much knowledge they have, but also what kind of character these people are.